Hey everyone, welcome to a deep dive into the world of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
This one's for anyone out there who's, I guess, curious about Bitcoin, whether you're like completely new to it or just want to kind of, brush up on what you know.
Right.
So we're gonna try to break down like the essentials of this whole digital currency thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's a different way to exchange value than we're all used to, right? Like think of it as finance 2.0, but before you even think about buying that Bitcoin pizza, we got to get the fundamentals down.
Absolutely. It's like learning to drive. You wouldn't hop into a race car without knowing the basics.
Right, exactly. So what is like the most important stuff we need to know before diving into Bitcoin?
Well, I think the first thing is you got to think of your Bitcoin wallet like you would your physical wallet.
Okay.
You wouldn't leave it lying around, right?
Yeah.
Or share your PN with everyone. Security is like paramount. Also, gotta remember that Bitcoin transactions are irreversible. Once you send Bitcoin, it's gone. Kind of like sending a letter, you can't call it back once it's in the mailbox.
Wow, no takebacks. That's serious.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like we need to tread carefully here. But what makes Bitcoin so different from just like using my credit card, Why are people so excited about it?
One of the biggest draws is the freedom it offers. Imagine being able to send value anywhere in the world instantly without needing a bank's permission.
Wow.
It's like having a digital Swiss bank account, right in your pocket.
Okay, that is pretty cool. But this whole like treat it like your physical wallet thing is bringing back some memories, Like remember that time I lost my wallet at that music festival?
Oh no.
All my cash, my ID gone. Not a fun experience.
Exactly. And losing your Bitcoin wallet can feel even worse, especially if you haven't taken the right precautions. We'll dive deeper into those security strategies later.
Okay, I'm definitely all ears for that. But honestly, the thing that's grabbing my attention the most is this Bitcoin roller coaster I keep hearing about.
Yeah.
The price swings sound wild. It's almost like gambling. What's the story there?
Well, Bitcoin's a young market, It's like the early days of the internet. A lot of potential, but also a lot of unknowns.
Right.
Factors like market sentiment, regulations, even tweets from influential figures, it can cause huge price swings.
Oh, wow.
It's a bit like the Wild West of finance right now.
Okay, so you're saying maybe not the best place to put all my savings then?
It's all about managing risk. The Bitcoin can be a high reward asset, but it's also high risk. Only invest what you can afford to lose. Think of it as a small piece of a diversified portfolio, not your entire nest egg.
Good point. I did hear about that guy who bought pizzas with 10,000 Bitcoin back in 2010. If he'd held onto those, he'd be sitting on a fortune today.
Right. That story, it perfectly captures the potential upsides and the what-ifs of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It's a powerful reminder to really understand the risks and opportunities before diving in head first.
Okay, back to the no takebacks thing. How does that even work? If I accidentally send Bitcoin to the wrong address, is it really just gone?
Unfortunately, yes. Bitcoin transactions are final. They're recorded on the blockchain, which you can think of as like a giant public ledger that's constantly being updated and verified by a network of computers.
Okay.
Once a transaction is added to the blockchain, it's virtually impossible to alter or reverse.
So if I send Bitcoin to the wrong address, there's no customer service hotline I can call for a refund?
Nope. That's why it's so important to double and triple check those addresses before hitting send.
Yep.
One wrong digit and your Bitcoin could be lost forever. It's like launching a rocket into space. You need to be 100% certain of your trajectory before liftoff.
Yikes. That definitely emphasizes the need to be careful. Are there any safety nets in place to prevent mistakes like that?
Absolutely. Bitcoin's design actually helps catch typos in addresses. If you misspell a character, the transaction likely won't go through.
Okay, well that's a relief. But this sounds a lot more involved than using my credit card.
Yeah.
How do I even know when a transaction is really final?
Good question. Bitcoin relies on a system of confirmations to ensure a transaction is secure.
Okay.
Each confirmation is like a stamp of approval from the Bitcoin network. It's verifying that the transaction is legitimate and adding it to the blockchain.
Okay.
Typically takes several confirmations for a transaction to be considered irreversible. Think of it like waiting for paint to dry. It takes a bit of time to fully set.
Got it. Starting to see the picture here. But there's one thing that's been bugging me. I thought Bitcoin was anonymous. How does that square with this public ledger thing?
That's a common misconception. While Bitcoin offers a degree of privacy, it's not truly anonymous. All transactions are publicly recorded on the blockchain, meaning anyone can see the movement of Bitcoin between addresses.
So it's kind of like leaving a trail of digital footprints, like browsing history or online shopping.
Exactly. You might not be sharing your name and address with every website you visit, but you're still leaving behind a digital record of your activity. Similarly, with Bitcoin, you're not broadcasting your identity, but your transactions are visible on the blockchain.
Okay, so how do we maintain privacy while using Bitcoin then?
The key is to use new Bitcoin addresses for each transaction. This makes it much harder to link different transactions to the same person. Imagine it like using a different email address for each online account you create. It helps to compartmentalize your activity and protect your privacy.
Okay, starting to get a feel for the privacy aspect. It sounds like Bitcoin really is a whole new world with its own rules and risks. It's also pretty clear that it's still a work in progress, right?
And you're absolutely right. Bitcoin is constantly evolving and adapting. While it's gaining popularity, we're still in the early stages. Think of it like the internet in the 90s. You know, it had a lot of potential, but no one knew for sure what the future held.
It's definitely exciting and a bit intimidating at the same time.
That's the beauty of it. It's cutting-edge technology, and the future is still unwritten. But that's what makes it so fascinating to explore.
Well, before we wrap up this first part of our Bitcoin deep dive, what's like the one crucial thing our listeners should remember?
I think the biggest takeaway is Bitcoin offers incredible opportunities, but it's essential to approach it with both enthusiasm and caution.
Okay.
Do your research, understand the risks, and take steps to protect yourself.
Excellent advice. We'll be back soon to continue our deep dive into Bitcoin, where we'll explore the legal and tax side of things. You won't want to miss it.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Bitcoin.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground already, from the importance of security to that wild ride of Bitcoin's price.
Right.
And of course, the fact that there are no takebacks in the world of Bitcoin transactions.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like navigating a new terrain. You need the right map and compass.
Seriously, folks, double check those addresses.
Yes.
But now let's tackle a topic that I think often gets overlooked: Bitcoin and the law.
It's an area that can be a bit of a head-scratcher. But it's crucial to understand the legal and tax implications of using Bitcoin for sure.
Yeah, because nobody wants a surprise audit from the taxman, right?
Right.
So how do governments even view Bitcoin? Like, is it even legal?
Well, the legal landscape is still evolving. Bitcoin isn't considered official currency in most countries.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean it's a free pass when it comes to taxes.
Okay, so even though it's digital, we still need to treat it like any other asset for tax purposes.
That's the general idea. Think of it this way. If you buy something with Bitcoin that's gone up in value since you got it, you might have to pay capital gains tax, just like if you sold stocks for a profit.
Right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But what about just everyday transactions? Like if I buy a coffee with Bitcoin, do I need to report that too?
The rules can vary depending on where you live. Some countries might consider even small Bitcoin purchases as taxable events.
Oh, wow.
So it's really important to do your research and understand the specific rules in your jurisdiction. And remember, tax laws are constantly changing, so it's crucial to stay updated.
This is starting to feel a bit like a legal maze. Any tips for navigating this complex world of Bitcoin and taxes?
The most important thing is to keep detailed records of all your Bitcoin transactions. Dates, amounts, the purpose of each transaction, it all matters.
Got it.
Think of it as good digital hygiene.
Okay.
And if you're feeling overwhelmed, it's always a good idea to consult with a tax professional who specializes in cryptocurrency.
Right, because deciphering tax code isn't exactly my idea of a fun weekend.
Yeah, I hear ya. Here's a simplified example to help you understand how taxes might apply. Imagine you bought one Bitcoin for $10,000 a year ago.
Okay.
Now it's worth $20,000. If you decide to sell it, you've made a $10,000 profit. And depending on where you live, you might owe capital gains tax on that profit.
Okay. Yeah, that makes it a bit clearer. So we've got security, volatility, irreversibility, and now taxes to consider. It seems like with great Bitcoin power comes great responsibility.
Well said. But remember, this is all part of the learning curve. As Bitcoin continues to evolve, we can expect more clarity and guidance on the legal and regulatory front.
Yeah, it's exciting to be a part of this technological revolution, even if it comes with its share of challenges.
Exactly. And who knows what the future holds. Maybe one day we'll be reminiscing about these early days when Bitcoin was still a bit of a Wild West. But for now, let's keep exploring and learning together.
Welcome back to the final part of our Bitcoin deep dive.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
It really has. You know, we've explored the highs, the lows, the risks, the rewards, and even that kind of legal maze surrounding this whole digital currency thing.
Right.
I mean, we talked about security, that crazy price volatility, the irreversibility of transactions, and of course, understanding the tax implications. But now I kind of want to step back and look at the big picture. Like, where does Bitcoin fit into all of this? What does it all actually mean?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Bitcoin is still a young technology, and its future is, well, full of possibilities. I mean, some people believe it's going to replace traditional currencies altogether.
Wow.
While others think it'll become a, valuable asset that exists alongside, the systems we already have in place.
It feels like we're watching the birth of a new financial era, and no one really knows what the landscape will look like in a few years.
Exactly. It's challenging the status quo, It's forcing us to rethink what we thought we knew about money and value.
Yeah, it's really pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
It is.
And it's empowering individuals in a way we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
People suddenly have access to this global financial system that operates independently of banks and governments.
Yeah, that's a powerful concept, and it's attracting attention from all over the world, Everyone seems to be curious about Bitcoin, from tech enthusiasts to Wall Street investors. It's really captured the global imagination.
It really has. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Bitcoin, what's like the key takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with? What should they remember?
I think the most important thing to remember is that Bitcoin is a powerful tool with the potential to change the financial landscape as we know it, but it's also a complex and evolving technology that requires careful consideration. Approach it with both enthusiasm and caution, whether you're a seasoned investor or just starting to explore the world of cryptocurrencies.
I like that. Enthusiasm and caution feels like the perfect balance for navigating this whole world of Bitcoin. Well, hey, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Bitcoin. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and remember, the future of finance might be just a Bitcoin away.